The world has a lot of problems, right? And, one of the things that we need to solve, and we were talking about some of this, just as we were sitting down there before the program started.
Can I correct that question a little bit, sir?
Sure.
The world doesn't have too many problems, it has only one problem, human beings.
Okay. So if we could focus on that one issue. All right. What do we do? How do we use, the insights, the understanding, the enlightenment that you have to go after some of these issues? Because they're very real and they threaten us.
See, by every definition that we have made, we have defined ourselves as the most intelligent creatures on the planet. These are all our definitions. I don't know if the insects agree with us. But by our own definitions, we are the most intelligent of the species. So our understanding is right now, whoever dominates must be most intelligent. So for which we are paying a lot of price. Whoever is right now in domination, he is the most intelligent. If you go by that, we are the most intelligent. Maybe we are the most intellectual, yes, of all the creatures. But we are not the most intelligent, because we don't even know what to eat after these millions of years. Hello? Even now research is going on, what is the best thing to eat? If you put something in front of your dog, one sniff, he knows whether to eat or not to eat. So this is mainly because this is a new happening. This cerebral activity is a new happening. We're a bit too excited. Just like, people are all engaged with their smartphones all the time. They're walking like this everywhere. They're not looking at the sunrise, even that they look in the phone screen. They look at the whole cosmos in their phone screen. Because the instrument is new. Next generation may not even look at it, probably. Right now it's new, everybody is engaged with it and they're calling it a smartphone. Generally, someone will refer to someone else as smart when they find that person is smarter than them, right? So, unfortunately for a whole lot of people, the phone is the smartest thing about them. So, this is a new gadget. You should know more about these things if you have the right names for this.
The brain?
No, in the brain, this cerebral development…
The cerebral cortex and…
Yes.
Yes.
This is a new happening. So we're a little excited about this. This can boom, 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 there's all those figures of blue lights flying all over the place and we're excited about those things. But fundamentally, intelligence always has been, all right? It might have found expression in the form of thought, which gave us the capability of language and many other arts and music and things. It gave us various capabilities, there's no question about that. So only a very few, very small percentage of people used it that way. Rest of the people are using their intellect just to freak the hell out of themselves. You're only handling injuries or you're also handling people going off?
I only do neurology. Okay. I'm not board certified in psychiatry, that's the question.
If they're neurotic, you don't deal with them?
Not trained for that.
Okay. They all come
not professionally trained for that.
A lot of them come to me. You're lucky. So, this is essentially like you have a new gadget, but you have not read the user's manual. You're doing something with it. Human suffering that you see, human beings are suffering on various levels. As a doctor, you're probably seeing physical suffering in terms of ailments and surgeries and whatever they go through, injuries and stuff. But I'm seeing a different level of suffering. People who have no ailment to complain about, but they suffer deeply. people without any ailment suffer far more than people with ailments. At least if you have an ailment, you have a good excuse. Most people don't have an excuse, simply sitting, standing, they suffer. Everybody has found a reason. Why? Well, somebody is suffering because they are poor, they're suffering their poverty. You make them rich, they'll suffer the taxes. They're not educated, they couldn't get into the school, they will suffer. Get them into the school, you've seen them suffering here. To the best school, they will get in and suffer. They're not married, they suffer, get them married. So they are not suffering their life. This is something that needs to be understood. They are not suffering their life. If you ask them what they're suffering, they're capable of suffering what happened 10 years ago. Yes or no? 10 years ago, something happened, they can still suffer. And they're capable of suffering what may happen day after tomorrow already. So essentially, their suffering is not about life. They are suffering two fantastic faculties that only human beings have. No other creature has such a vivid sense of memory as we have. No other creature has the kind of fantastic sense of imagination that we have. They are suffering their memory and their imagination. They are not suffering their life, isn't it? They are only suffering their memory and their imagination. If you take away a part of their brain, you definitely know which part it is. If you take out some part of their brain, whatever that part, they will all sit very peacefully, maybe even happy, I don't know. Because I find, I just met a lady a few months ago. I was in Mysore, my hometown. I just went to visit someone. And I was just entering a building, a very small built old lady, maybe she's over 75. She came smiling at me so sweetly and just asked me, "How are you?" I said, "Ma'am, I'm well. How are you?" And then I went up, I never forget faces, but this is not a face that I know. Then I went up and after half an hour I came down, again she came to me with a very sweet smile and she said, "How are you?" I thought, okay, and then I said, "Okay, I'm doing well, how are you doing?" Then somebody came and said, "Poor lady, she's just lost her memory." But I said, "It seems to have done wonders to her." She's just so exuberant and joyful. So, a whole lot of people, when they lose their faculties, they become better. This is the unfortunate nature of our existence, that our capabilities have become our problems. If our incapability is our problem, that is understandable. But when our capabilities become our problem, we are heading for a disaster. Yes or no? This is a tremendous capability. This cerebral development is a tremendous capability, but now that is what we are suffering. Our fantastic sense of memory and imagination, we are suffering this. And no wonder so many people are losing their memory because many times in their lives, consciously, unconsciously, they're wishing they could forget something. And they will forget one day. When they forget, suddenly it becomes an ailment. But they were always wishing for it. Every day, a whole lot of human beings are continuously wishing and praying, "I wish I can forget this." But when they forget it, then they become a case. So, this dimension of what we are looking at is not about forgetting, it is not about reducing your thing. See, every day people are taking their own anesthesia. They call it whiskey, they call it wine, they call it their own thing. They kind of, just dull your memory, dull your imagination, simply sit there. It feels peaceful. Next day morning again, everything is back anyway, unless you have a hangover. But people have found their own ways of anesthesia.
For sure.
And people are using many things, of course, more advanced developments have happened in that level of anesthesia also in recent times.
Right.
So, essentially, whether you pray, I want to forget all these things and live happily, or you drank a glass of wine, or you doped yourself, or you're on LSD, or you put them on anesthesia, essentially they're all moving in the same direction. You're doing it for a specific purpose for a limited period of time, but they're trying to do it to their life. And one day, when they lose their memory, in a way, unfortunately, they've succeeded their intent. This is the misfortune. Because people are driving themselves towards that. People are trying to think, I mean, today in the world, people think there is something called as sanity and insanity. There's no real line there. It's a line that you manage by yourself, with your own discipline and your own perception. Is there really a line called sanity and insanity? Tell me.
Is there?
See now, it's like this. What you think is normal, somebody else thinks is crazy. Is it not happening all the time? Older generation thinks younger generation is crazy. Younger generation thinks old people had for sure lost their marbles. Everybody is making these judgments. One culture thinks another culture is crazy. So, it is just a line that we artificially create and manage because we know if we cross that, we will not be able to control ourselves. Even when people get angry, the term that they use is yours always, I'm getting mad, so they know it. So, they know that they've crossed their line. The line is not same for everybody. What is my line and what is somebody else's line is different places people have drawn their lines. Somebody thinks it's all right, once in a way, at least 3 times a day I shout at somebody, it's okay. If I ever shout at somebody, then I will withdraw probably for many years because such a thing cannot happen. If it happens, I've lost it. So what is your line, where is your line, is something that you have drawn. There is no existential line that this is sanity, this is insanity. There's no such thing. The question is just this, if you're in control of your mental faculties, this is called sanity. If you're not in control of your mental faculties, this is called insanity. Suppose, right now, we can make an experiment with all of them. Can we?
Sure.
I'll give you 10 seconds. Next 10 seconds, nobody… a simple thing, what you have to do is, you can think of anything in the universe you want. Only thing is, don't think of monkeys for the next 10 seconds. Okay? 10 seconds, no monkeys. You will count millions of only monkeys. So, our faculties are not totally in control. The question is only, how crazy are you? Okay? You are a little more crazy than me. That's about it. But there's no such thing as somebody is absolutely sane and somebody is absolutely insane. What means a lot to me looks like insanity to somebody else. Is it not happening every day? What means a world to you, somebody else thinks this is insanity. What means a world to them, you may think it's insanity. All kinds of things are being done in the world and it looks perfectly normal for that person, it's only others who are making this judgment that he is insane. Only thing is, if what is out of control goes to a point where it causes active harm to himself or to people around him, then we are diagnosing him as totally insane.